Now the first shot wasn't initially planned, but it ended up working quite well. The fact that the camera is so smooth makes it look as though it's slow motion, but in fact it's just a combination of the camera work and the artist walking quite slowly. The next shot shows that the artist is in a recording session, and these are actually the tools we use to record the artist. Pictured is a mixing desk and the Zoom recorder. This is the start of the song after the short intro. We see the artist sit down in front of a microphone, which kind of gives it an informality. It helps us to show that it's actually a recording session.
So this is what you meant when you said that you spent, and now it's time to build from the bottom of the pit right to the top.
This is one of the problems of using two cameras.
Right to the top. Don't hold back.
This is the first time we see both the main characters in the shot. To the right we see the artist and the left his girlfriend, and at first this shot's in place because the indie genre is so broad. Not much actually looks out of place. We can see that the character on the right is wearing a shirt and smart trousers, and this is acceptable. Indie music videos, they can range from wearing leather jackets to smart shirts. It doesn't matter too much because it's such a diverse genre. This shot here helps cement the fact that there's a relationship between the two. At the moment it seems to be strong, they're enjoying themselves, and this is represented through their hands. Also note that the artist is wearing a festival band. That's something which is very common amongst musicians, and especially indie musicians. The ring is also very much something else which has come back in fashion through the indie culture. Them sort of items have actually gained popularity through the spread of indie culture, and it's important that we show this in our music video.
My bags and giving the academy your rain check. I don't ever want to let you down.
Notice the shallow depth of field here. This ensures just the faders are in focus, and it's achieved by using a wide aperture lens. In fact, this is one of the reasons why the Canon 50mm 1.8 was such a good lens.
I don't ever want to leave this town, 'cause after all.
This medium shot of the artist's back is quite interesting actually. It shows the sound engineer in the back, and it helps us confirm that it is a recording studio. We can see the backlight on the right side of the artist's face. That kind of makes him stand out a bit more, and makes the frame look a lot less two-dimensional.
The city never sleeps at night, it's time to begin, isn't it?
In this shot we see that the two characters initially get on. I keep on putting in these brief cutaways just to keep the audience guessing, so these are supposed to set off enigma codes in the audience, and just kind of get them questioning what's going on then. Why is the artist writing this song?
I get a little bit bigger, but then I'll admit I'm just the same.
Here I wanted to create a similar effect as the film Portrait of a Boxer by Philip Bloom. It starts with a close-up and then goes to a long shot, and that really makes the subject look quite kind of awkward and isolated, and this is the first kind of unsettling shot we see.
Now don't you understand that I'm never changing who I am?
Here we see shots of the artist writing lyrics. This clip here shows that the artist is a singer-songwriter, and it's an important part of the story. I think we could have done with an extra close-up here just to show the pencil on the paper. Nevertheless, I think it gets its message across. We know he's a singer-songwriter because he's got his guitar and he's writing the lyrics, and the guitar's an important prop. It establishes the fact that he's a musician, and is something which is dear to his heart, and he carries it around quite often. Jump cuts were used here, and I think it ended up being quite effective at showing the passing of time and the kind of stress the character was under. Here is a reversal of the over-the-shoulder shot which we saw earlier on. It involves a camera operator pulling focus between the two subjects. Now I keep on coming back to this brick wall, and the whole idea of this is that it doesn't kind of give this utopian world, and I don't want this video to be like a typical pop video where everything is perfect, as Dyer explains in his theory. I want it to be quite down to earth, and this conforms to the whole indie genre, where nothing really is that perfect, and it's all kind of down to earth. This is quite similar to the Arctic Monkeys' Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High, where it's set in quite a kind of everyday rough area, and it's not represented as being a nice area.
So this is where you fell, and I'm left to sail. Oh, the path that heaven runs for miles of clouded hell right to the top. Don't look.
Now this shot here was actually quite annoying. I really liked it because the movement I achieved by using a monopod works quite well, and we got a really interesting angle, especially with a wide focal length. However, obviously as I pulled the camera back, the backlight was in the shot. I don't think it ruins it. I mean, you've got to be looking for it to actually pick it out, but I still think the motion of the camera added production value. The two rack zooms here were completely deliberate. They're inspired by a film company called Trine Films, who post a lot of their stuff on YouTube. I thought it added a really dramatic effect, and it just helps break the music video up a bit so it's not as boring to watch. Now if I had to put our music video into one of Sven's categories, I would say it's mainly performance. I mean, the artist is in most of the shots, and this continues throughout the whole video. There are some kind of conceptual elements with just his girlfriend in a shot, but it is still mainly performance based.
The same as I was. Now don't you understand that I'm never changing who I am? It's time to begin. Now don't you understand that I'm never changing who I am? This road never looks so lonely. This house doesn't
The close-up of the
burn
piece of
down
paper
slowly.
shows that this has some significance to the artist, and it ties the story together quite well.
Now don't you understand that I'm never changing who I am? It's time to be.
So when the guitar stops, the whole tempo of the music changes, and I wanted to kind of create flashbacks to the beginning. So I took some of the shots from the beginning of when the artist was walking in, and here we see the sheets of paper again, and these kind of show that he's been writing this song to tell a story. So gradually I want this narrative to kind of unroll, and this is where it all starts to make sense. Now I wanted the whole story to be quite kind of open-ended, but I needed to get across to the audience that the two characters were going to be parting for some reason. So I went back to the wall again and just had them framed at this awkward composition, and just have them walk apart from each other, and then the audience can make their own interpretations. I find this makes it a bit more engaging and leaves you on a bit of an edge. And then finally a close-up of the artist, which fades to black to finish off. This allows the time for reflection and thought, so the audience can just kind of interpret what happened.